In 2007, Nancy Pelosi vowed Democrats would bring integrity to Washington.
We'll keep our promise to drain the swamp that is Washington, D.C., to let sunshine disinfect the Congress.
But this week, one Democrat resigned and one senior member gave up his chairmanship. Joining us now to talk about it is Melanie Sloan. She is executive director of CREW, which is Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Melanie, thanks for coming in today.
Nice to be here.
Okay, Congressman Charlie Rangel, very popular, very powerful, and yet this week he stepped down after getting in some trouble from the House Ethics Committee, which you say is notoriously lax anyway. What do you think led to him taking that step?
Well, I think the problems that Charlie Rangel faced this week with the admonishment that came out, that was really just the beginning. A large number of much more serious charges are still outstanding, including questions about whether he exchanged a tax loophole for a company for a $1 million contribution to the Rangel Center attached to City College, and some questions about his financial disclosure forms and taxes, and 4 rent-controlled apartments in Harlem. And the Ethics Committee is still going to have to come back on all of those things. So I think we're just seeing the beginning for Charlie Rangel.
And he has successfully deflected a number of charges and accusations up to this point. What do you think it was that finally led to maybe some nudging from Democratic leadership? Hey, it's time.
The midterm elections only being a few months off, I think, is really it. The Democrats came in on the message of a culture of corruption. They were going to clean up Washington. So it's not a very good message for them to have Charlie Rangel's picture splashed across every headline with a lot of corruption allegations. So I think it's exactly that. Members were starting to feel worried about whether this was going to resonate with voters in the midterms. And we know, in fact, that voters care very much about ethics. They cared about it in 2006 and brought the Democrats to power. And in fact, the Republicans, that's why they lost. And the Democrats themselves had lost in large part on ethics issues back in 2004.
And someone who's not waiting for the midterms, Congressman Massa, this week also stepped down amid allegations of sexual harassment against a male staffer. He's not wasting any time. He's making it easy for the leadership. He just said goodbye. Basically, we think tomorrow will be the official day.
Right. He initially said he was going to retire at the end of his term, but that meant the ethics investigation would still go on. So now he's decided to resign immediately, which will kill the ethics investigation, so we won't ever really get to the bottom of that. I have to say, one politician who did the right thing here was Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, who said when staffers came to him with this that if they didn't bring it to the ethics committee, he would. I think he didn't want to see another Mark Foley situation for the Democrats.
And you mentioned 2006. Obviously, there were a slew of Republican scandals that came out right around the time of the elections there. You mentioned it cost them. So can Republicans, capitalize on what's happening this time, or do they have to be very careful about making any hay out of this?
Well, they have to be careful because both parties certainly have their problems. I mean, we haven't just seen this scandal. We've seen a bunch of earmarking scandals, that the PMA group scandal, which involved both John Murtha, now deceased, and also Mr. Visklosky, who's still in office, but also Todd Tiahart, a Republican. So everybody has to be careful. The problem is both parties really like to throw ethics mud at the other party, but they don't really want to get their own house in order. And American voters, we just all want all the politicians to be ethical. We don't want it to be a political football.
All right, Melanie Sloan, thank you very much for your insight today.
Thank you.